Hi, everyone, and welcome. So, if by any miracle of the algorithm you came across this video, stay a while and listen. There's a reason why these things happen. I know it sounds cliche, but there are no such things as coincidences in life. The universe works in mysterious ways. It's becoming increasingly hard for people, or for some people, should I say, to see things for what they are. And one of the biggest reasons why this happens all the time on a daily basis, and it keeps on happening, it keeps on going. It's been happening for a couple thousand years at least that I'm aware of, is because the way the structure of society as a whole has changed, and the way that people are so deeply, for lack of a better term, brainwashed, programmed, because I don't know any other words that would explain this better than that. And me saying that alone is most likely going to shadow ban this video anyway, because YouTube doesn't like certain words. You can't be honest on this platform anymore. You start talking about certain things and it's over, right? It's because most of the population lives throughout their entire lives without ever asking the tough questions for themselves. And the questions that at one point or another of anyone's lives, everyone asks themselves these questions. Who am I? What am I here for? Where do I come from? Where am I going? What is the meaning of life? What is my purpose here? You see, life works in such a way that no matter how sleep mode or autopilot mode a person may be operating here in this physical construct, in this realm, on this earth, those questions eventually, perhaps not all of them at the same time, perhaps only one or two of them, or it doesn't matter. We all ask ourselves these questions at one point or another of our lives, right? It's uh, it's part of our cosmic nature, so to speak, to to be curious about certain things. And once certain events or a certain chain of events happens to us in our lives, we begin to question certain things. And this is when we will ask ourselves these questions. And that's the best thing a person can do for themselves. Because once you begin to question things, once you begin to question the narrative, that means something something is stirring inside of you. Something is slowly begin to awaken inside of you. There is like this fire within every single person that eventually just turns itself on one way or another. But what happens is most of us, we may ask ourselves these things, but then we'll go right back to our old ways and we'll never do anything about that ever again. And this is why I would dare to say probably about 95% of the population. It might be a bit better these days though. I don't know if it's still that way, but decades ago that's the way it was anyway. Um yeah, about 95% of the population is just reacting to life instead of living their lives. Because when you don't even know who you are or what you are, truly, in the real sense, right? How can you have any idea of what are you supposed to do about your life? Which way to go? People can be married and feel alone. And people can also be alone and not feel lonely. Do you see the irony on that? The things that what makes the difference in these two examples that I just cited is that most people are in that category of being married and feeling alone. And then there's a small number of people, much smaller than the other one anyway, of people that are perfectly fine being alone and by themselves. Because those people, they begun to figure out what life is all about. What it really means to be alive. What it really means to be here. What are we really here for in the first place? Most people are not asking themselves questions that they should be asking themselves. Most people are not aware of things because they do not practice self-awareness. Is the observer and the observed one and the same? Now, I don't claim to know it all. Never have, never will. And I've stated this many, many times throughout my content on this platform that I'm not here to tell you how to live your life, what to do, what is your purpose, what is your meaning being here. That is up to you to find out. Because believe it or not, you have all the answers to those questions that you may have been asking yourself for a while now. The reason why you don't find those answers and you don't get those answers is because you're really not looking within deep enough with yourself. You have all the answers. You are the answers. It's time to regain control of yourself and your own life. Regain control. Because the reality of the situation is majority of the population lives throughout their own lives without being in control of their own lives, their own situation. It's actually the opposite. They are being controlled. They are being manipulated by an amalgamation of external influences, forces, parasitical energies that are all around us all the time. And now with the way the technology, has gotten to this point that we have all these devices now, it has become even harder because these devices have a lot of power when it comes down to manipulating and controlling people's way of thinking. Way of feeling about themselves and the world all around them. We have been sold a lie throughout most of our lives, and we don't even know it. Matter of fact, most people live throughout most of their lives, sometimes the entirety of it, without ever figuring these things out and acknowledging that. And seeing that something just feels off and out of place. Why is it that I feel this way? Because we all feel that at some point or another in our lives. But most people don't act upon those feelings and don't do anything about it. So they go back to the old ways, like I said, right? And they just continue to live on completely oblivious of these facts that I just stated. So one must have the courage and the determination to be able to begin to ask themselves these questions. And then after that, the ideal scenario or reaction would be start seeking for those answers. Because you have them. They are within you. They are an integral part of who you really are, of what you really are. And this is really all I wanted to talk about today, my friends. I know there's a lot of distractions, a lot of noise, a lot of things out in this world that we live in that are keeping people perpetually busy and thinking about all kinds of things. Keeping people locked into the survival mode so they don't see these things, they don't ask these things. But like I said, if for any miracle of the algorithm, you seem to come across this channel and you listen to the entirety of this video, there's a reason why that happened. So do the right thing and begin to seek for those answers because you've got them. You are the answer. And that's the reality. And the sooner you begin to figure these things out, the better your life will be for you and for the rest of the world. And this is really all I wanted to talk about today, my friends. So, with that said, if you like the channel, don't forget to click the like button, share, subscribe. And I will catch you all on the next one. Take care. Be safe. Until next time.